Hi class, my name is Charles Evelyn and this screencast will be on covering the use of APIs on the server. An application programming interface, or an API, describes how software components interact with each other, and usually this happens on some type of server or with some server architecture involved. This screencast will cover the adaptation of an external API that is used to output climate conditions based on a location from the user as they input it into a text field. The users offered a simple text box where they would actually put in the name of a city and click the all too familiar Go button. Upon which the server then queries the API and presents the current temperature, humidity, cloud conditions, wind direction, and speed back to the user for that location that they put in. And the API can actually be configured to show a default location to begin with, just so there's some data there at the start. So now let's take a look at how this works. So here we are in the API, and as you can see, there's a default location for Alexandria, the city where I live, and here's the temperature, humidity, current cloud cover, and wind speed and direction. So now let's go in and see just what makes all this possible. So in the PHP function here, which is the My Weather app, we're looking at the script, and we start with a function that retrieves the weather data from the API, and it's openweathermap.org, and you can see the full URL there with the queries in it. We're using the file contents and the JSON decode to set the data coming from that API into JSON format, and of course we are returning that data. Right below it, we have a function specifically for wind conditions, or basically the direction, with an if statement that uses degrees to break down the directions, uh, the four cardinal directions, as well as the four supplementary directions. So you have north, northeast, east, southeast, and so on. Then there's an if statement here that checks for the post data. So if they checks to see whether the submit button was clicked, basically. And if there's a um, they have to submit data here to check for the city, and of course we'll put a city in here. And if for the default, we get the weather for Alexandria. Below the PHP script, there's an HTML form, and right here is the form with this the simple label for this the label for the button, correction, the label for the text field, and the input text box that the user submits, and the button as well. And below that, we have some HTML for the output to the screen, and within that contains the PHP variables. Let's start here. Here is the name of the city. These key value pairs here have the name of the city, the temperature is for humidity. This is for the description of the weather, this cloud conditions, and the wind speed and direction. And so as we look at that, let's go back to the weather map. Let's enter in a city. Let's do a very popular one here. And as you can see, we enter the name pops up of the city that we posted, the current temperature, humidity, type of cloud cover, and then I have a good time over there, and the current wind speed. And so there you have it. That's your weather app, and its explanation and how it works. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and you guys take care.